Okay, so I wanted to circle back to the stone entrance project. This is the one that we're beginning fundraising for, because while we have the support of the mayor and city council to do these stone entrances, sandstone, like the original sandstone entrances, we're not saying, hey, here's the idea, now pay for it. We're fundraising for it. And I think this is a great opportunity to get the community together to invest in our community. Yes?
Does it give you any sense of whether they would contribute? In
Yes.
other words, financially or even just through labor? Like for instance, if you pay for all materials, do they have
Yes.
staff that can?
They gave a clear indication that we would have financial support for this. But we just said to them, in good faith, we're fundraising for it too. So our goal right now is $50,000. The project altogether might cost upwards of $100,000. So here's the original entrance.
Don't you think there's probably some businesses in town that would contribute to that?
I do. So we're gonna ask corporate sponsors to donate at the maybe $1,000 level, $2,500 level, $5,000 level. Yep. Absolutely. This benefits them too. You know,
Yep.
this really benefits the city. So it's more than just the project community. Yeah. It's easy to miss this wall when you're driving through that entrance because the gazebo is what really stands out to you and the historic marker. But that wall, we've taken measurements, we've taken design elements from that wall and proposed, this is one, proposed for the location of Chalkville at the intersection of Rockridge and Poplar Street. That's a lot of traffic coming down that hill. And imagine seeing the signage. See the example of that's an original feature there on the left. That's the idea of what would flank the signage on either side.
And we've had commitments from the city before to build that. At least 3 different administrations have committed to building that, and they never did it.
Every time we propose something, I hear, you know, that's come up before. We're not doing anything new.
It just come up before.
Mm-hmm.
They sat there and told us they were gonna do it.
What happened? What was the cause for it never to get pushed through?
I would say changing,
They just dragged their feet and it never.
yeah.
But they own that property.
They own
They
the
do.
property. Every
City
piece of
owns
property she's
every
talking
one we're
about
proposing,
currently
that's a good
belongs to
point.
the city. There's no property being acquired to do this. But, you know, I can talk to you later about who said
I don't care
was.
who, I just wondered if.
But yeah, there was a direct, it was no ifs, ands, and buts. It's, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it right here, and they never did.
Well, here we are again, and
Yep.
we're gonna see it through.
And I'm hoping what we can do with this group is hold people to some of these commitments, either not so much past commitments, but commitments that they make to us now. That if you make a commitment to our neighborhood that you're gonna do this, we're gonna hold your feet to the fire to do it.
Yeah.
It's just like the street signs. How many administrations committed to putting the street signs back up with the wooden placards on there? Well, we got the concrete posts back on each corner by stealing them from in between where some were put, so, but they never put the wooden street signs like you go over to Mountain Brook and see. Those were all wooden street signs hanging there before Mountain Brook had them, we had them here. And those never went back.
So it was a shingle style
Yes.
street sign.
And the replica, they were gonna redo the lights with lights that were similar to the ones that were there originally, the brass lights. And I can't tell you the number of times we've been promised that, and
Yeah.
those two things have never been done, and that would add a lot of character to the neighborhood and some place to hang your banners off of.
Right.
Or those concrete posts.
While we're on the subject of the street lamps, this has come up a few times, and I know back in at least as early as the 70s, it was talked about replacing them, and there were hiccups along the way. I've also heard it proposed maybe just around the school, bringing those either replicas of the original green lamps. Again, I'm being cautious about saying putting something where it didn't originally belong, but the idea of the heritage garden, that might be an appropriate place to have some lamp lighting. Again, labeling what this is, a replica of the original street lamps that were placed at such and such, you know, for some ambient lighting, things like that. Just an idea that we're putting out there.
I think getting the original lights back up would be huge for the neighborhood. That'd be more ornamental for
Right.
public safety, but getting those original posts with the original brass
They were
sections
beautiful,
up there
yeah.
with the wooden shingles throughout the neighborhood, that would be tremendous to get those back up.
I
I've got those from over there in front of the school,
Yeah, Bob's got 3 to go to front of the school,
the 4 of them.
4 originals.
4. I got promised somebody's gonna give me one, and I've got 3.
3 out of 4. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I'm up with another one, I believe, you know, after dark.
That's the way you gotta do it sometimes. And those are originals, I mean, those
Yeah.
are the original.
Real thing.
So let's get back to this, this is for the proposed location, and this is the smallest one of the 3, because we're talking about the smallest lot that, again, we've got the original entrance at Parkway and Highway 11. We have the entrance from Rockridge coming down the hill into the community, along Chalkville and Rockridge. Then you have Poplar and Parkway. There's a lot of traffic going along Poplar Street, right? That triangle, that's a city-owned triangle, with crepe myrtles right now behind it. And then there's the one at the, technically you enter the Cahaba project, and there's no question about when you enter it. We have the survey, we have the map, it's all there, it's all laid out, right? That's the district boundary. At that I'm gonna call it the mini mall. If you have a better name for it or a historic name, please
One
tell
by the
me.
First Baptist Church.
Right, the one after the church at Magnolia Court.
It's Magnolia Mall.
There you go,
Yeah.
okay.
That's what it's
Magnolia
called.
Mall. Did you just make that up?
No.
That makes perfect sense. Magnolia Mall. That's when you enter the district from Cahaba. So you've got a nice stretch of land right there where you could do something real pretty. Okay, so this one, do you see the signage? I know it's hard to read there. U.S. Resettlement Administration, Cahaba Homestead Village. That is how we're listed on the National Register. And then established 1936 to 1938. You don't know that if you don't live here. Even if you live here, some people don't know that, because unless you're getting out of your car or you're walking to stop to read the historic marker, it's not that visible. Most folks are just driving down the road, and this would make you not miss it. So oh, this was built in the 30s. Oh, U.S. Resettlement Administration, what's that? Look it up. All right, so here's that first location. Here's an aerial view of North Chalkville and Rockridge, and this is a ground view. If you are driving up Rockridge, exiting the project, and you just come to Chalkville, it's hard to see, but there's this red line noting where that signage would be. This is a second design that's a little larger because the proposed location is a little larger. And this is not an either or, this is an all 3 entrance to the district, with similar features like a flag, like an American flag in the center, a spotlight on the flag, a place to put wreaths at Christmas time, a place to put banners for City Fest and things like that. Make it functional, not just attractive. So this design also borrows from this, again, if you don't stop there or you're walking there, you might not have noticed this feature, that sort of half circle, that moon shape, dip in the wall. It's really attractive. All right, so here's an aerial view of the triangle. Now orient yourself. You're on Parkway and the school's down here, and you're driving down, and you're gonna continue over to, Happy Hollow, or left to Poplar Street. So that is city-owned property, and if you can look carefully, there's a red line. Maybe that's too far forward, but that's the idea, having that signage there, that pretty major intersection, to see the boundary of what you've entered when you enter our community. Here's another feature of the original wall, and we've got proposed this design with it flanking. Now those are actually benches, flanking the signage. The center is the same in all of the designs. But this is one where you might have 3 flags, and this is that Magnolia Mall space, okay? So as you drive through, you would see it on your on that side. And a great place for photo ops, a great place to stop and rest, a great place, again, it's functional. Sit down for a while, not just read it as you're driving by. Display the American flag, display the Alabama flag, display another local a flag with significant meaning.
Maybe there needs to be a Cahaba Homestead Village flag.
Maybe there ought to. I think I know some artists that could work on that.
There
There's
are
the
hundreds of
center.
people, and there's hundreds of people that walk that square
Yeah.
a day. When I'm down there at my house on Oak Street, it's just amazing to me the number of people that I see that walk that Parkway, Poplar, Chalkville Road Mall, that's triangle, not that rectangle there. And, so I would encourage those to be rest spots. You know, the city's been putting the little water fountains up for people and their dogs. And I think each one of these would be a great spot for the utilities to put in one of those for people to get a drink of water, sit on the bench and rest a little while. And get water for them and their animals.
That's great. And that's part of it. I think when you drive through this neighborhood, I can't say this about everyone, but you slow down a little bit and it encourages you to slow down because you've entered something really beautiful, really, really unique. And
Yeah,
when you're walking,
if you make this about the dogs, it'd be hard for anybody to be against it. You know, we're doing this for the dogs.
It's not hard for me to fake that affection because I'm an animal lover. But yeah, no, I think that's a neat idea. So many of us do have dogs. It's such a walkable neighborhood that makes it that much more usable and thoughtful. Yeah.
I think it's important that we all remember that walkability and that neighborhood feel. The feel of this neighborhood is different than anything you get anywhere else. And the entire goal of this foundation is to preserve that neighborhood feel.
That's
That's
right.
right.
I live on Parkway. I sit on my front porch and watch people that are not from here. They drive here, park their cars, and walk our neighborhood because they love this place and the feel that it gives them. And the entire goal of our foundation is to preserve that feel.
That's right.
Ralph, I recognize, I can tell who's coming when I sit on my front porch because I recognize the dogs before I recognize them.
Yeah.
We have people yell at, when we're on the front porch on Parkway, they'll yell, and it's usually young people, what is this? And, you know, we'll say, read the sign, you know, the at the entrance up there.
And a brochure, yeah.
Yeah, well, I need to put some on the front porch, but that is a compliment.
It is a compliment. They know they've entered something unique. Yeah. And so these, and we're so open to feedback, y'all. This is just the proposal, and we've gotten good feedback from the mayor and the council on it. But we're being very careful about what complements what we have here already, what enhances it, what educates, adds beauty, adds value. Nothing we're suggesting here, out of the Stone Entrance Project, the House Museum idea, the Heritage Garden, Poplar Street, Daffodil Row. These are all things that hit those marks. They add value, they add beauty, and they tell our story.
There used to be daffodil rows all around the project.
We had tons of daffodils in the
They used to
project.
be all the way up Rockridge, the garden club planted them all the way up Rockridge.
If you'll go down.
See, we've not done anything new, not
If
a
you'll
single
look down-
thing we proposed. Every time I say something, I'm like,
If you'll go down to the
You got
mall,
great ideas, Aggie.
if you go down to the mall in front of the Christmas tree and stand right there on the sidewalk. Jen and I were down there this past week where the tree commission was planting some trees. And you look, you can see the line of daffodils about this far off the sidewalk, but they're only up about this high because they're cutting them with a lawnmower. The daffodils are still there.
okay. That's the beauty of it too. They just keep coming back. They're gonna come back every year.
Well, you have
But
to
if you
coordinate
keep-
it with Public Works
Right.
because you can't just, it's a little bit more involved than
Yes,
just.
But the daffodils are there is what I'm trying to say.
right.
They're still there from when the garden club planted them.
Well, they've just gotten, you know, over the year, I mean, they've been there over 50 years or more. So they're planted deep
Right.
now, so it needs to be a replanting.
And Daffodil Row can turn into, you know, a daffodil, almost what would you call it? Not a tour, but you know what I mean? There'd be different places around the city that you spot them that time of year. And it just adds to that connection, you know? That's a project that we can visit soon, but I do wanna focus on the Stone Entrance Project today. We'll take these things one at a time, because each project that we fundraise for is gonna be a little bit different in collaboration with maybe a different civic group that wants to get involved, right? So taking it one at a time, this is the one we've got a green light to go ahead on. And we are at $3,600 in fundraising. We will be approaching corporate sponsors for sure, but we're also just asking families and individuals, put in any amount that you wanna contribute to it. When these come up, these sandstone entrances designed after the original one, you've got that investment in it and in your community. And hopefully this is something that I didn't grow up in this neighborhood, but my husband did, and we're raising the third generation here, and I want my kids to come back through this neighborhood and see that, and know what part their generation added to contribute to this historic community. But come back and see some of those things that never changed.